Welcome to another episode of Aydin Says Stuff. Sorry I've been MIA for so long. I've been working. As you can see right now, I'm deployed working for Red Cross and, well, just didn't have time. And also, I was curious what to even talk about. You see, I set up this channel to talk about things that intrigue me, like books, which, Jesus, I'm going through like a pile of them a month, but also about life, art, philosophy, everyday existence. And presently, as I'm working for the Red Cross, something kind of kicked in my head. You see, I've been working in the humanitarian field for a very long time. And I met multiple individuals who have experience in it. From academics, people who have PhDs. There's something they all lack. Actually working in chaos. And I figured, what would be the best experience to work in the humanitarian field? And that, well, it might sound funny, is maybe running and managing a nightlife industry. You might tell yourself, what is this fool talking about? But I'm being serious. You see, most people don't understand what nightlife is. Clubs, bars, how they function. They feel it's the easiest thing in the world. You put music, you serve alcohol, people come, dance, drink, and they go home. That's in theory. In practice, it's a goddamn nightmare. You have to deal with so many unpredictable, absurd scenarios that there is no way you could create solutions beforehand for them. You have to adapt. You have to be flexible. You have to be comprehensive. There's so many elements that are imbued into being a good manager, owner, anything in the nightlife. I'll give you a few examples and correlate it with the humanitarian world where I also work in. So, dealing with diversity. Now, sounds simple, but it ain't. What is considered diversity to you? What is considered diversity to somebody else? What is cultural diversity? All of these things are complicated. Specifically, let's say when I work in DRC, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, there are so many diverse tribes, and not all of them get along together. And you have to find a solution to make sure it works. Now, correlate that to the nightlife. You need to create an environment that attracts everyone. I mean, everyone. And they all have to feel safe in that environment. It doesn't matter who they are, where they come from, what skin color, if they're LGBTQ, doesn't matter. You have to make sure it's safe for every single one of them. Just that by itself, creating that environment sounds simple, but it ain't. And you have to manage to do it because, let's just be realistic. In 2021, there is no way that you could get away by being sexist, homophobic. Just as a business, you'll go bankrupt. You need to make sure that everyone who walks into those doors feels safe and comfortable. Well, just that itself, understanding that context and finding solution in that context helps you to work in developing countries and different cultures. Next is managing staff. Now, staffs are complicated because we're all human in different ways. When you work in the humanitarian world, you have to give them rules and regulations, what they can do, what they can't do, what is okay, train them. So at the end, the goal is fixed. This is what we need you for to make sure this happens. Yet, again, not always simple. Things occur. Extreme cases from violence, floods, political unrest. makes it that your staff can be 100%. Yet you can't force them to be 100% because the environment that they're in prevents them from being that. You need to adapt, find solutions. And the nightlife. Okay, most of you who might watch this might actually have worked for me. And hell, some of you fuckers have, you've pissed me off. You've done things that were so idiotic, but I knew it wasn't because you were stupid. It was because of the environment you were in. Okay? It's happened that staff do make mistakes. Drink too much, get emotional, get aggressive, and you have to find solutions for them so they can keep on going. The amount of times I finished the shift at 4 in the morning and my staff is so wasted they can't even count the cash. You still have to stand by them and defend them. Then comes the notion of customer service. Being able to be polite and firm. Oh my God. In corrupt developing countries, you have multiple individuals who come at you for bribes. You can't outright insult them because they will make your life a nightmare. You have to find solution without bribing them. Complicated again. In the nightlife industry, you have, I call them Karens, who just complain. Not enough alcohol, my vodka soda. I don't like this music. It's not my genre. I don't like your design. They'll have their opinions. And holy shit, their opinions are idiotic. And they want to complain. And you have to let them complain. You have to be polite about it. You have to be respectful about it. Even though they're idiots. I'm sorry to say, they're just full-on idiots. That passive way of approaching someone who is extremely negative is a huge benefit when you work in environments where individuals purposely want to trigger you to get something above you. You have to be calm and firm. You need to manage the level of aggression involved. For example, if someone starts being physical, you make sure your security are on it. But someone's just being a douchebag, you remain polite. Because as much as I wish, being a douchebag doesn't merit being aggressively pulled out of the club. It just means you're a douchebag. Respect. And this is hard because you have to understand that in environments of high risks, high stress, respect must be maintained. And people unfortunately feel comfortable doing bad things in specific environments. Put it in context, I've had waitresses who are horribly disrespected by clientele. Even though they were spending money, I'm sorry, my values and the values of where I worked at, as my own standards, remains. That gives you no right. You leave. I kick you out, not physically, but I ask you to get the hell out of the club. Because no one deserves to be disrespected. I don't give a shit how much money you want to throw at them. Unless they actually physically want to be disrespected and you're, agreeing to it. But it's rare. Specifically in the nightlife industry, most of the time it's just assholes who feel comfortable and at ease of pretending to have power over someone just because they're spending a bit of money. That itself correlated to the projects I work in with women's rights. One, teaching them that doesn't matter what society has told you that, oh, you're a woman, so you should accept it. No. Teaching them and standing by them firmly that no matter what happens, your body, your right to say no needs to be respected. It sounds so simple and easy when I'm saying it, but you'd be surprised the amount of time I work in places where rape culture fully exists. We're talking about, if you ask the question, is rape okay? People will mostly say yes. And we're including females in here. This is how they were taught, and trying to explain to them how that is wrong in a respectful, calm manner. Running a nightlife business is chaotic, it's absurd, and you always try to prepare in advance. Unfortunately, it never happens. Working in the humanitarian world, and this is where I see a huge lack, is that they prepare in advance, but they're not able to adapt quick enough to give the most help and support. It's I wish I could tell all my supervisors, hey, come and spend a night at a club, see how it works. Maybe you might learn a thing or two. I doubt that will ever happen, but maybe. Anyways, this is my mini rant. I just didn't know what to say, and plus, like, I felt this needed to come out. There are so many fields that have nothing to do with each other, yet there are the perfect ways of learning for that specific field. And I think during our time, COVID, we should learn to break away from bureaucracy and regulation that are forcing us into a really bad habit, and learning how to be flexible so we can adapt to help as many people as possible. Because like the nightlife, if you don't adapt, if you don't change, you go bankrupt. As simple as that. And you don't have to always agree with the change. Shit, I can't stand dubstep music. I don't get it. I don't want to get it. But kids these days love that shit. They adore it. I'll play it. Let them have fun. In the same way, I think the humanitarian field needs to adapt and change. If we're going to make sustainable difference and an impact globally and locally, the way we're going right now, I don't see it doing that. Anyways, that was me. Aydin saying stuff. Most probably the next video is going to be me going to a museum because I can't wait to see art and having Tintin explore art. Guys, thank you for listening to my rant. If you have any opinions or questions or anything else, please relate. And for my staff, if you recognize yourself and all the stupidities you've done and I backed you up, well, you better put a thumbs up and like my shit.